Hello and welcome back to the Adventures in Marketing podcast. My name is Gwen Montoya. I'm a marketing strategist. I'm also your host for the podcast. Thank you for joining me. If this is your first time, if this is your return visit, thank you so much for joining me again. I really appreciate that. If you are enjoying the podcast, I would love a subscribe and a review. In today's episode, I want to talk about Canva. Now, before we get too far into it, I want to remind you that I don't do affiliate links. I don't get paid to promote things. It's really important to me that you know that if I'm recommending something, it's because I think it's a really amazing program or choice for your business or in general versus being paid for it. So this is a free review for Canva. I just really think it's an amazing tool. And I think that as much as I use it, I know that there's so much more that I can do with it. Even more, as much as I've been around it and as many people that I know who know about it, I know there's so many out there who don't. And, when Canva first started, it was a smaller tool. It didn't have all of the bells and whistles that it has now, and they just keep adding more and more. And now I really do think it's one of the most robust and affordable small business tools that you can use. And they've just actually even added more in the past couple of weeks. And so that's kind of what prompted this podcast episode, because I don't usually go too deep into specific tools. And actually, one of the things on my list was to talk about tools that I use in my business. And when I got to Canva, I kept adding more things. And so it kind of became its own episode. So look for a podcast episode of tools that I like in the future. But for today, I'm just going to talk about Canva. So if you don't know what Canva is, it is a graphic creation program that is incredibly easy to use. I find it very intuitive. Most people find it very intuitive. But if for some reason you don't like Canva, there actually are a couple of options, and I will get to those in just a second. What I really like about it is that there are templates, and you can modify the templates to your heart's content, or you can leave them kind of basic. And one of the things that I really recommend, if you're going to use Canva and you use it more than, let's say, 2 to 5 times a month on a regular basis, just go ahead and get the Pro plan. I think that you're really going to find it is faster and much more effective for you rather than trying to piece it together with different things. If you don't like Canva, here are 2 other options that you can use that I also use and like and recommend all the time. The first one is WordSwag, and this is just pretty much for image or blank background and text. I've had WordSwag for so long that I bought it as a complete app way before they moved to the monthly subscription. I can't say that I would use it if I had to pay for it by the month, but I think I bought it as like a $5 app several years ago. So for me, it's a really good deal. I also like Adobe Spark, which is part of the Adobe Creative platform. Weirdly, I like the app better than the desktop. For some reason, I just am able to create graphics faster using the app than the desktop, but your mileage may vary. So on to Canvas. One of the things that they are constantly doing, as I mentioned, is adding more features. And in a time when business owners are looking for fast, easy solutions, I really feel like this is one of the best out there. When they first started, they pretty much just had, a handful of stock photos, a handful of elements, and that's when I started writing the blog posts about finding free stock photos. And really the point was, when I started putting those lists together, was so that I could augment my Canva list because I didn't like a lot of what they had. However, they have since partnered with Pixabay and Pexels, and that brings you so many images and elements and graphics. Obviously, if you need something that is more custom or more specific or more niche, you may have trouble finding it. I will include the link to my blog post about 17 diverse and unique stock photo sites so that you have those also. But like I said, Canva keeps getting better. The title of this podcast episode is 10 Things You Didn't Know You Could Do with Canva. And the reason I went with this direction is because even if you use Canva, if you don't really get in there and dig around, you're going to be missing things. Every time I go in, I find something new that I didn't realize I could do. So the newest thing that they have added, finally, is curved text. And I know that sounds like a weird thing to be excited about, but from Canva's inception until now, if you wanted to put a curve on your text, you couldn't do it in Canva. It was this weird thing that they just didn't allow, and they've added it. If you've been using something else because Canva didn't have the curved text, then maybe this is the reason to switch over. The other thing I really love about what Canva offers is they have some collections of, the other thing I really love about what Canva offers is that they have collections of branded matching templates, which means that you can have a selection of 8 templates that all work together. And once you add your own branding and your own font colors, they look really nice and cohesive instead of you having to either try to create your own or try to find ones that are similar and piece them together. If you want to see an example of what this looks like, you can go to my Instagram. I am at gmontoyapdx on Instagram. And in my stories, in my podcast stories, you can see how I have used templates that match, that work together to create a series of stories for my podcast. Some of you may remember PowerPoint or SlideShare or Slide Deck, I think it was called. Well, Canva has better options for all of that. Canva has better options for all of that. You can have a slide presentation that does not move, or you can have one that is video based, or you can have one that has moving elements. All of those things give you so much control over how you present what you do and how you can be creative with it. Speaking of videos, you can actually create your own videos now on Canva, and they even have stock videos and stock audio for you to use, which means, again, instead of having to go to 5 or 6 different websites across the internet trying to find out what you can use, what you can't use, it's all there. You are clear to use them as long as you are following Canva's terms of service. One of the things that used to frustrate me about Canva is that as much as I loved the desktop version, the app was kind of a mess. And I used to tell people to design on the desktop, and then if you have to tweak something and you're on the go ahead and use the app, but don't try to design directly from the app because it can be really frustrating. Well, Canva has been working really hard to upgrade their app, and it is so much better than it used to be. Now, depending on how you work, you still may prefer to do most of your designing on a desktop, but anytime I think that we have more power and more control over when and where and how we can work, I think that's fantastic. And so I'm really excited that Canva has invested not just in expanding what they offer, but making what they offer work better. We all know that video is incredibly important. And one of the things that Canva now allows you to do is to create little animated social media graphics. You can use a pre-made template where all of the animation is already taken care of for you and you just tweak a couple of things. You can create your own posts and add animated elements to them, which are within Canva that you can search and just pull into your graphics, which is really fantastic. I think one of the really cool things about adding a little bit of animation is that the way that social media right now is looking at animated posts versus static posts or, just an image, the videos are getting pushed. And so it's another way for you to be creative, to get out in front of your audience, but not necessarily to the point where you have to be on camera all the time. You can highlight what you do and make it fun and add some movement to it. I've mentioned a couple of times about how you can just swap out your fonts and your brand colors and make a Canva template completely your own. I think that's one of the really cool things. And one of the things that Canva has improved is that you can now upload your own font. You used to be limited to whatever fonts Canva made available. And again, when you use the Pro plan, you get more fonts than you would have otherwise. But one of the really cool things is that when you add your own branding and your own fonts to your graphics, your branding looks cohesive. Instead of looking like whatever you make comes from a different business every single time, when you consistently use the same fonts, when you consistently use the same colors, when you consistently use the same sorts of elements in your graphics, you create your brand identity. And obviously, I'm not a branding person. That's very 101 basic stuff. But anytime that you can make it easier for somebody to recognize, oh, that's that person's business and I love them, you want to do that. If, for example, you have your own logo or you have your own elements that maybe that you have created or a graphic designer has created for you or you have purchased elsewhere, you can also upload those into Canva and use them as part of your design. So it is very welcoming to outside pieces of information. You're not stuck using only what Canva has available to you. You can upload your own items and then work them into the Canva template. So not only is it faster to design, it is something that looks like something that you made and it has the elements that your audience is already familiar with. When we're creating graphics for social media, one of the challenges that comes up in social media graphics is that, for example, Instagram stories is not the same size as a Facebook post. What that means is that you used to have to make an Instagram stories post, an Instagram post, a Facebook header if you wanted everything to match, a YouTube channel header if you wanted everything to match. And now Canva actually has a resize option that lets you automatically resize the design that you've already made. It's not perfect. It could definitely still needs some tweaks, but it is so much faster than creating every single graphic from scratch every time you need something different. Another really cool thing that they have added that is completely brilliant and a lot of fun to play with and actually works a lot better than I thought it would is the option to remove the background. One of the really cool things that you can do with the Canva background remover is that you can remove backgrounds of your own photos. You can remove backgrounds of stock photos that you can find in Canva or anything that you upload. You can also remove backgrounds of videos. So for example, if you have a video or a photo that you love, but the background isn't great, or you want to create an image and you wish that the background wasn't there, that's an option on the Pro plan, is that Canva background remover, which I think is a really fantastic tool. And the last of my really big things that you can do with Canva that you probably didn't know is that you can actually create your own story highlights. Canva has templates for that. And I think that's one of the really cool things about Canva is that they have templates for everything. I just feel like it is such a helpful tool for those of us who are not designers, but who are designing our own graphics. The idea that you have a template for pretty much whatever you need at this point, and it lives on Canva and you can just access it whenever you want, is kind of magic, right? So those are my 10 things. I'm going to go over them really fast. So the first thing is that Canva has curved text. You might not have known about that. The second is that they have those collections of branded graphics that are cohesive and work together. The third is that they have those presentations that can be still or video. And the fourth is that they have video that you can make in general, which is amazing. Number 5 is that you can now design on the go. The Canva app is so much better than it used to be. Number 6 is the option for animated posts, whether those are posts that Canva has templates for, or you are uploading your own little animated pieces to it. Number 7 is the pre-made templates and the ability to just switch out your font and your brand colors to make your graphics look cohesive to your brand. Number 8 is the ability to resize graphics. I think that's huge. Again, it's not perfect, but it's much faster than it used to be. Number 9 is the ability to remove backgrounds on images and videos. And number 10 is the ability to have Instagram story highlight templates and access those. And again, change those to your branding colors, change those to your fonts, make them your own. I think that's huge. There's so much that Canva is doing right now that I actually have 5 more that I'm not going to get super into, but I do want you to know that you can do this with Canva now. You can print business cards and shirts and some other things now through Canva, which is pretty cool. You can make a logo. You can make your own logo. Just read the fine print, read the terms of service on that, because there are some limitations and I don't want you to be too excited about creating a logo and then not have it work the way that you had in mind. Number 13 that you can do, in addition to printing business cards, you can also print note cards. So if you have, for example, you wanted to send note cards to clients, you can actually do all of that design work right here in Canva instead of using something like Vistaprint. You can do worksheet pages and journal pages, and these are so customizable. Pretty much every worksheet page I've ever made for a client has started somewhere in Canva. If you are a teacher or you need to track time or pretty much any design that you need, Canva has a template for it. It's really, really cool. You can also do ebooks. I believe the page limit is 100 pages. So any of those freebies that you want to design and you want them to look nice, Canva's a really great place to do that. And they already have templates, so you're just dropping in your own information instead of recreating the wheel and trying to make it be some amazing graphic thing. If you're not a graphic designer, let Canva do that work for you. And a little extra bonus. So let's say that you love Canva, you love using Canva, but you get tired of seeing the same templates. Now, first of all, I'm going to say that if you're looking at Canva all the time, you're going to recognize the templates. Other people in the world that you are probably trying to sell to or connect with may not recognize this as a Canva template. But if you decide that you're tired of seeing Canva templates and you want something a little bit more custom, you can go over to creativemarket.com or the Hungry JPG, both of which are marketplaces where designers can sell elements, they can sell fonts, they can sell Canva templates. So then you have something that is a little bit more unique, a little bit maybe more you, maybe a little bit more on your brand than what you're seeing on Canva. And even graphic designers, depending on who you're working with or who you find out on the internet, sometimes they have little Canva template bonus packs that you can use to create these templates. I will also say that Tailwind, which you can use to schedule your Pinterest pins, also has free templates that you can sign up for. And they are pretty great and super easy to switch around. And I didn't even mention how fabulous it is to be able to make Pinterest pins right on Canva. I think it's the easiest way to do it. That's what I have for you for this episode. I hope that this was helpful. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to me at gwen@gwenmontoya.com. If you need extra marketing support or resources, you can also reach out to me at that email address. And if this episode was helpful, if you learned something, please share it with a friend.